The book is outstanding, and it's more than just sitting across from you and you telling your story is one thing, but this long, detailed history of how you became to be the person you became. I think it's very educational for people because they can realize, like, oh, he wasn't always this guy. This is what's fucked up about people. Like, you see a guy who's like you, who runs, I mean, how many ultra marathons did you run in a row? You ran some insane number.
I think it was, I ran 800s in 8 weekends in a row.
Just stop and think about that, ladies and gentlemen. 800s means 8 100-mile races. 8 weekends in a row. A 100-mile race will put you out for fucking 6 months.
Right.
And you ran 8 of them, 8 weekends. It's a fucking insane accomplishment.
It was nuts.
You think about a person like that, you think of them as in this like static, fully formed version.
Right.
You don't usually get to see, and especially someone like you, who you went into so much depth about your rise and fall and rise and fall. It wasn't like a straight linear process between you getting inspired and then you becoming this bad motherfucker.
No, it wasn't like, what's that show called, that Will Smith plays, that black guy who kind of makes it in the financial world. Pursuit of Happiness.
I never saw that.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It wasn't like Pursuit of Happiness, man. Like where the guy struggles and he gets over it and he makes it.
Yeah.
I fell on my ass. I thought I got to the top of Mount Everest, and Mount Everest just fucking slide right underneath me, man. I was like, God, dog, I gotta start from scratch again. Scratch became my friend, literally, man. So, that's how you put in the book, man. Just going up, going down, going up. Just the real raw version of how my life was. It was so in depth to go back through your life with a fine-tooth comb that I almost got embarrassed to even put it out there to people.
Yeah.
That's what you don't understand, man. Like, even me right now to talk to you, I'm in the car for a fucking hour getting pumped up because I'm a shy, introverted, leave me alone type of guy. Like, I'm still that motherfucker who is 6 years old, at a play, who can't say his line because I know I'm going to stutter in front of 5 people. So I walk off the stage. That's still me. So every day I'm fighting that dude. So people think, oh my God, man, you're on a podcast, you look so crazy, so evil. No, I'm trying to be locked into Joe so my mind isn't veer off saying, let's run out the damn door because people are watching me on the fucking podcast. I want to open this damn door and get the hell out of here, man. So that's the real me. So I'm not sadistic, man. I'm focused on what I have to do to stay locked into the game of life. And that's why I tell people, man, I go there. I go there.
That's one of the reasons why this book is so good, is because you're so honest about your vulnerabilities and how you overcome them. And for people that see someone who's a beast, who's done great things, you just assume that they're different than you.
Right.
But then you hear about your insecurities and your pitfalls and all the things that went wrong with you, and you realize, well, God damn it, those are the same things that go wrong with me. Like, maybe I have that inside of me and I've just never summoned it.
Right. And I'll tell you this, I started really realizing that when I started overcoming myself, I started getting around these real alpha males, these hard men. And I always put people way above me when I was growing up. Like, my God, they had to have a lot more than me to get to where they're at. And a lot of them did. But once you get around the best of the best of the best people, you can kind of start breaking them down and realizing, man, you're just as fucked up as me. Like we all have, but all you did was you hit it better. Your upbringing, your mom and dad, your society, the way you were raised, it hit it better than mine. You weren't the only black kid, or there was like 5 in a school. I can't hide. Going through buds, I was the only black kid. You can't hide. But I started realizing, just because I look different than you, a lot of you motherfuckers can't hide either. So it started giving me courage through watching people that we all have a story. We all have a jacked up life in one way or another. Some of us don't have the guts to talk about it, though. And that's where I found the guts to talk about mine.
Well, there's purity in physical pursuits, right? Because it doesn't matter what your social status is. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. When it comes down to how long can you stay in that pool, when it comes down to how far can you run, when it comes down to how much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit, how far can you keep going, there's a purity in that it dissolves social order, all that bullshit, what people think about you goes out the window. It's who are you right now?
That's right.
Who are you right now?
That's a true statement, man. And I look at it as psychological warfare. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. the most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so fucked up. It was so wrong. It was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare. A whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, Goggins. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training for the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You have the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't have to learn, they didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what now, from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that.
Well, that is a big part of the stories when you go over your childhood and, your abusive father and then having this great guy that was going to become your stepdad and then he gets murdered. It's like right when you're about to get out of it, everything looks good, boom, and then he gets murdered. It's like these things really did sort of set you up to start from scratch again and just go, okay, roger that, we start from scratch. Right. And now you have that attitude. You developed it through all of these horrible personal experiences, all the trials and tribulations, all the evil shit that people try to do to you. That sort of set you up to be able to deal in a way that a lot of people can't.
Well, I used to look at my life from a different vantage point. And when you're in all the muck and you're just walking in muck and walking in muck and walking in muck, you don't see that if you look off to the fucking left of the muck, there's a sidewalk, brother. Get off of it. You have your head down looking in this muck. Once I saw the sidewalk, got the sidewalk, I got a little break. And I got a different vantage point. And then from the sidewalk, I found a cliff. Then I found a mountain. I got way up high on top of my life and looked back down on it and said, okay, I got to figure this out, man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm starting to lie. So when you have a messed up foundation, I started lying about everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life, some social society. And I was like, man, this isn't the right way. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up everywhere. And so I realized the worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also, I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely.
That's such an important point when you're talking about the working out, because a lot of people, when they think about working out, they think of it as being a physical thing.
Right, no. I did it for mental.
Yeah.
People always say, my God, like, no, don't look at it like, I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest person. I wasn't making the Olympics. I wasn't going to pros. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callus over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I got to start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's going to build me. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't want to do that. So I made this long list of things that I don't want to do. And through that, I found myself. I started, I'm like, you guys aren't doing this shit in high school. You guys aren't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running over here in this golf course. So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem.
Now, is this something that you learned? Is this something you learned yourself from exercise yourself, or is this something you had read or heard about? Like, what made you equate doing this and doing these difficult things physically to mental toughness, to being, this is the discipline that you need in order to get your life out of the situation you're in?
So I never read anything. You know, I could barely read, you know, so
Right.
I wasn't reading back then. I watched a lot of movies, and I was really big into visualization. And I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle, and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's where I started coming up with, like, I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for, like, to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. You know, I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
It's a crazy thing to figure out, though. It's like that you figured it out, and you didn't just figure it out, you embraced it. Like when you were talking about your senior year of high school, when you're talking about your mirror being your accountability mirror, like you had a radical shift. Mm-hmm. Like you just decided to not be a fucking loser, right, and to start tightening up and start holding yourself accountable and get ready for things.
So I had this my whole life. I mean, I don't know if people believe in God or what. I don't care what you believe in. There's been this unrelenting voice in my head. We all have this voice. It's the right or wrong voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me into comfort a lot. But I had this other voice I heard my whole life saying, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing? No, man, we got to go over here. We got to go over here to that rock pile over in the fucking corner where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over there in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. Now, I wasn't a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the fucking answers are. And I didn't want to listen to it because over there was pain. Over there was me looking in the mirror. Over there was me being accountable for all these things that went through my life. Even though people put them on me, it's now mine to own. And I didn't want to go over there by myself, but I had to. And this voice was guiding me there. It's God, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it was in me.
Do you think that's just what when you separate yourself from your ego and what your insecurities and all like if you were giving yourself advice, you would say that's what the thing is to do. So do you think that's what it was, like your subconscious or you stripped away from all the bullshit when you couldn't lie to yourself because it's a voice in your head?
That's exactly it. It's exactly it.
Because it knew.
It knew. I was a character. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was off. I was off, man. I was a clown. I was a clown, and I was like, this is not where you're supposed to be in life, man. And it's ugly when you look in that dirty mirror, and you're trying to do a new hairstyle to go to school. You know, I had a hairstyle one time where I shaved the top of my head. You know how old men had the hair like leaving their head?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to school with hair on the side of my head and in my back, and I shaved the whole top of my head. I went to school like that, you know. And then I had like.
What did the kids say?
I don't remember what they said, but I was just a funny dude. You know, so that was my thing. I was the funny dude that came into school, like Criss Cross came out when I was in high school. So my pants were backwards. I said, you know, I'm gonna have my pants backwards, sag down past my ass crack, shirt turned backwards with a toothbrush in my mouth with the reverse part. The reverse part is your head is shaved and you have some hair on top. Just a little piece of hair versus like a part through hair. The part was on a bald head. So it was just, I would sit at home, instead of studying, I would think about what can I do to impress the motherfucker at school?
Wow.
And that became my life. And it's a long road to hoe to get to the guy who says, now, you don't ever smile on any podcast. You look so serious. I look at that shit. I'm like, you motherfuckers have no idea who I am, where I've come from to get here today.
You could have probably been an entertainer. Like you probably because you were doing all that kind of shit.
I have some jokes, Joe. I got some jokes, Joe.
I bet you do.
So what people read in this book can't hurt me. It's a sad story. It's a horrible story. It's a tragic story. It's a story that made me who I am today. But you have to learn to laugh at yourself too. Once you go through that shit, so there's a lot of parts in there where there's a lot of me against a lot of white people, you know? And I have a routine that I won't do. So people who hire me to speak, I'm not going to do the routine. I often do it sometimes. Think about it. I was a 36 black guy to go through SEAL training. Okay.
Out of how many people?
Out of probably looking at probably 11, 12 to make it through, probably 13,000 SEALs. I was probably the 36. I was a 36 black guy to make it through, and over since like the 1940s. You know, you're looking at almost 70 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know, do the math on that. So there's not a lot of black guys, and so I take that and I make a nice comedy skit out of that shit. You know, like the first time they tied me up and threw me, it's called drown proofing.
Yeah.
So I'm negative boring as hell. You know?
Me too.
Oh.
I'm related to that big time.
Yes, you one of the few white boys, man, that are negative buoyant. You sink like a rock.
Like a rock.
And that's hard. So imagine them getting your hands and feet, tying your ass up and throwing you in the fucking water and say, swim. It was like throwing a cat in the water with fucking a brick on him. So I was just losing my fucking mind. So it's so many things I had to get over, you know, and I found humor. I found humor in my suffering. I was like, motherfucker, what are you doing out here, Goggins? Like, this is crazy. Like, you're literally trying to reinvent the wheel, but I was trying to reinvent my mind. And I used every single tactic possible to do that. I didn't want to live in this world where I was a fake human being anymore. And I was tired of blaming everybody for where I was at. My dad beat me, this happened. I mean, my dad ran prostitutes, man. My dad literally snatched the soul out of my mom. Like, my mom is still battling. Like, after my mom left my dad, and this is what I'll talk about in the book, she got married 3 times for a total of 6 months. You know, I don't go there. I'm not even going to talk about the guy she married. So this woman she's beautiful. She's so smart, all this stuff, man. This guy literally stripped her soul away. And I was a young kid watching it. And I had no soul to begin with. And my brother, he has a story that he could write 8 books. You know, my dad just came through and just washed us all clean. So to come out.
Is he still around?
He died about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not for sure. I didn't go to the funeral, but I forgave him. So I saw my dad through an 8-year-old's eyes. So we left when I was 8. And then at 22, I went back to see him through a grown man's eyes. And he was the same person I remembered. But I had to. You can't live with hate. You cannot move forward. As much as that guy tried to ruin all of our lives, that's where I came from. I had to figure out the origin of where I started from. So when I was going back through my life trying to fix who I am, the fucked up person I was, like, if your knee hurts, it's usually not your fucking knee that's hurting. There's something else, man. Like, it could be a tight quad. It could be the right leg if it's the left leg. You got to find out the origin of where all this shit began. And it was him. So I had to go back to where, you know, my roots and the origin of all this happened, and it's hard to do that.
Did you make peace with him?
I made big peace with. So we didn't have a peaceful conversation. We left very Garanimal. He's a vicious man. He was a vicious man. I mean, medieval motherfucker. So I had become a medieval motherfucker at that time. I was 22 and I was the big boy, and so I was no longer the guy who was afraid. It was not like, hey, I want to kill you type of shit. And we were sitting at Denny's after an all-night skate or whatever the hell. You know, he owned bars and skating rinks and shit like that. And so we were sitting down and we kind of got into it, and I just kind of left. But I had to make peace with it in myself. I could not hold on to that hate, because holding on to that hate was half the reason why I kept falling into the same pattern of failing. I had to start dumping off some baggage. I had to start figuring out me through him, and that's all he was there for. He was the origin. I had to figure him out, figure out why he was so evil to my mom, to me, my brother, and I had to start studying him. Like, a lot of people have situations where someone does something and we all attack that person, like on the media. If someone does something wrong, everybody now is fucking perfect. And we now judge this guy. I don't judge him. I don't judge anybody. What I do is I start studying them. Why did they do that? Not in a judging way. I want to learn from you.
And what'd you get out of your dad?
I got that he grew up rough. He was very insecure, had a lot of kids, and his insecurities just trickled over onto us. So, yeah, he jacked us up real good, but he never fixed himself. So if you never fix yourself, the next person in line is going to get the wrath. And we were next in line. You know, his first wife, you know, killed herself or whatever happened, and you know, got burned up in a house or it's some craziness. Man, there's a lot of stuff that goes on there that I didn't put in the book because I don't feel like going to court.
Yeah.
But yeah, this it was a lot of stuff.